What's up, Stat Family? Told you we was coming back with another. We got Bird event, Indiana State, Larry Bird, scholarship, dinner, and statue dedication. This is a live reaction. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that sub button, and comment below. Let's get it. Y'all know we live here now. And legendary. You know it?
Good evening and welcome to this very special night. Before we start the program, I'd like to thank those who have made this evening possible. Larry and Dinah, thank you for being here. We are very excited about tonight's program. The statue dedication tomorrow and the scholarship funds this event is supporting will allow future generations of Sycamores to know what basketball is to Indiana State and to Terre Haute and what the Larry Bird legend is all about.
Real legend.
Amy and Greg Gibson, thank you for all of your hard work in making this weekend possible. You are truly friends of Indiana State University and your efforts are deeply appreciated. Tonight's other MVP sponsors include Mary and Mike Blackwell of MoCo, the Pacers, and the Herbert Simon Foundation. I would also like to thank special guests attending tonight, including the Larry Legend Foundation, who really started this project, and the members of the 1979 basketball team who created the most memorable season in Indiana State history.
Real legend.
Thanks to you all for joining us on this historic evening and for supporting Indiana State University. This is going to be a great program. Thank you.
We definitely tune in.
It's often said that in Indiana, it's not just basketball, but something bigger, something closer to religion. We idolize our hoops heroes, and none of them is closer to our hearts than Larry Bird.
When Larry Bird walks into a room, he's the icon.
Icon, legend, a person of integrity. His impact on basketball is immeasurable.
He wasn't fast, he wasn't much of a jumper, but he had an uncanny ability to be in the right place at the right time, a skill born of thousands of hours of practice.
I know they say guys work hard, but I'd put Larry up against any of them.
If he couldn't outrun you or outjump you, he would outwork you, outthink you. We all know about Larry's dead-eye shooting, but scoring was just one aspect of his game. His passing was exquisite.
Slow it up. Goes over the head to McHale.
He could guard anyone, and he could sniff out a rebound like a hound on the hunt.
Rebound to Bird. Look at that pass. Oh, what a show.
Showtime.
Doing it not with flair or show business, but doing it just powerfully.
Unselfish to no end, Bird stood up for his teammates, and he had a warrior's respect for his toughest competitors. Had Larry Bird been born anywhere else, would he be the basketball legend he has become? Perhaps, but the fact is, he is from Indiana. He is a Sycamore, and for that, we're eternally grateful.
Indiana State University would like to welcome our host of tonight's show, Jackie McMullen. Jackie is a nationally recognized author and sports columnist and analyst for ESPN. She wrote for the Boston Globe for more than 3 decades, covering a wide range of high-profile sports events. Jackie worked with Larry Bird on his autobiography, Bird Watching, and also published the New York Times bestseller, When the Game Was Ours, co-authored by Larry and Urban Magic Johnson.
Well, welcome everybody to, I know it's going to be a very special night. I was asked tonight to tell you how I first came to know Larry Bird, and I have to tell you, I have no idea. I covered the man for several years as a reporter for the Boston Globe, and I had no idea if he liked me or hated me. I wasn't sure if he knew my name because he never called me by name. Until one day, many years, actually after Larry had done playing, I got a call from his personal advisor, his business advisor, Jill Leone, who said, so Larry's thinking of doing a book. And it was when Larry was the coach of the Pacers. And she said, so we're now, this is confidential, we're now at the point where we're going to talk about some of the authors. So I thought Jill was going to run by some of my more famous colleagues and we were going to discuss which one would be the best for the job. And she said, so, would you like to do the book? And I said, well, let me think about it. Yes, of course I'd like to do the book. And for me anyway, it was the beginning of a wonderful relationship with one of the most fascinating and wonderful athletes I've ever been around. And so Larry, come on up.
Big Bird.
In there. Have a seat.
Get him up there. Salute y'all too, man. You're a legend.
I kind of like you.
Bill,
Yeah, you do.
thank you.
So Larry, when was the last time you were in here?
First of all, Jackie, I see you let all my children in. How you doing up there? This place hadn't changed at all since I left. They keep it clean, beautiful. I love coming back here.
All right, very good.
Legendary.
So quickly, why is this place so special to you? What is it about this place?
Because we won over 50 games, just lost one. It's a good start.
It's crazy.
When I came to school here, I was in transition. I left IU and I was working down home. I came here as a young man to visit. I loved it, but I didn't choose it. So the second time I come around, I want to make the most of the situation. And I came here for three things: get an education, play basketball, and have fun. And I did pretty good in the third, the latter.
All right. Well, I think it's understandable to me, to everybody here, that Larry Bird and Indiana basketball go hand in hand.
Well, it does, Jackie. And we've been together for a long time. You know, growing up in Indiana, you better be a basketball player, or at least try to be one. It's a special place. I'm so proud to be from Southern Indiana, French Lick, Indiana, and come to really a mid-major school and have success. And it ain't about me; it's about me and my teammates. If you look at the team I had in '79, I really believe that if you looked at going into my senior year, I think it was just me and Brad Miley come back from the group of guys we had the year before. We had all new guys coming in. Why he kept Brad, I have no idea. But we had a whole new group, and to succeed the way that we succeeded and the way we played a game, I really look back on that, and everyone knew the role. And it was amazing. You know, win 33 games in a row, and just how we did a lot of close games. But we played as a group, we played hard, practiced hard, and we had success. And this is the reason we're here tonight. It wasn't just me. It was a bunch of us.
Right. And of course, it didn't start here. It started in French Lick and Chesapeake, Indiana. Let's have a look.
French Lick legend.
Larry Bird's story of humble beginnings in rural Indiana has a certain mythic charm. He was born in West Baden Springs to Joe and Georgia Bird on December 7th, 1956, and grew up in French Lick, Indiana.
We had like a 2-bedroom home, 6 kids. Sports in general has always been part of our family's life.
Larry brought his mother's work ethic to the gym at Springs Valley High. Under the tutelage of Coach Jim Jones, Bird emerged as a fast-rising hoops star.
That was one of Larry's motivations, was to please him. I think Jim's been a big influence in Larry's life.
He's a man that told me to respect my opponents but never fear them. A man that told me that pain is overrated.
Bird was remarkably unselfish, a rare quality in a high school player. Coach Jones often told Bird to look for his own shot and to take it. Bird complied and became the Blackhawks' all-time leading scorer.
I can remember the day my dad came home and it was late at night and he was yelling and waking everybody up, saying how Larry broke the scoring record.
By the end of his senior year, Bird had averaged 30 points and 20 rebounds a game, proving that the Hick from French Lick was more than just a high school player.
Please welcome to the stage Spring Valley High School coach Jim Jones.
Oh, this coach right here.
Thanks for joining us, Jim. So you told me earlier today that you had Larry as a really young boy, and it wasn't just for basketball either. Tell us where you first started to get to know a young Larry.
Well, it was in Little League baseball. He used to help me get the field ready before we played. And then after I'd get the field ready, I'd have to go eat. So I tell Larry, I said, make sure you don't ride your bicycle on the diamond. As I go out, look back through the rearview mirror, and here's Larry, as fast as he could go. So these were the experiences we had, and then of course he went through our bitty basketball program, and that was his first opportunity to see a pro game. If you can believe this, the wife and I each chaperoned a full bus of boys to Louisville to watch the Colonels and the Pacers play. This was our first opportunity. And then as he came through the program, then he came in as a sophomore. And he could play, but he didn't have NBA stamped on him. He was 6'1", 135 pounds, super slow. But he could play. First game, breaks his ankle. I taped him up, tried to play. He said it probably cost him 2 years of his pro career. And he hobbled around on those crutches, shot a basketball, dribbled a basketball, as many of you have seen kids do. He was there every day, never missed, always paid attention. Got that cast off finally, and he couldn't move, stiff. So he had to run the suicide. We called them Death Valleys. In a certain length of time, I had already sent the roster in for the state tournament, which you had to do. He wasn't aware of this, and I told him, if you run it in a certain time, you can play. He tried every day until he could do it. And then he started practicing with us, and we go to the state tournament. He hasn't played, but he could play. Had he not broken his ankle, he would have been a starter before the season was over. So it was this type of kid that we had. We knew was going to be a good player for us. He gets into the sectional game, and he had no doubt. His confidence level, and he assured me he could take care of it. And he did. He had 2 free throws to win the game.
Clutch.
So it was quite an experience.
But after not playing all year, and as I recall, you said when he first hurt it, you said, well, let's just tape it up, but without anything on it. You taped it onto his skin,
Oh,
right?
yeah, we don't mess around putting it. You don't need,
And
you don't need pre-wrap. We used to tell him, just spit on it and play.
Right. But so you're sitting out this whole year, and you're going every day on your crutches, and I think you told me at one point that's how you started using your opposite hand, right?
I definitely use the opposite leg over my hand, but I watch practice, hobbling around out there trying to do different things. I worked on my left hand a lot. That's what I always tell little kids that growing up start playing basketball. Your left hand's got to be just as good as your right hand, not to shoot with, to pass with, to drive with, whatever. And that was the time that I really started to develop my left hand.
You definitely was ahead of your time.
You get the cast off. You're in the tournament. You're on the roster. The coach calls your name. You haven't played all year. What are you thinking when he's sending you into the game?
Well, I can remember that. It's like it was yesterday. If I was sitting there, you know how you never get to play and you don't know why? Because you always think you're the best player. And I heard my name and I turned complete around, thought it was my buddies at the game hollered at me. And I felt this. Man, I was in that game in a hurry. I remember the first time I got the ball, I just turned and shot and it went in. But,
Knockdown.
you know, poor old coach, he struggles finding talent. I mean, I break my ankle in 2 places and tore all the ligaments in it. He tapes me up and pats me on the butt and says, "You'll be all right, go out there and get him." I made about 2 laps up down that court. I go, I don't know about this. It was not good.
We were checking his pain threshold.
Yeah, well, he did a good job that night.
So in that game, though, you win the game. So you go on, and I believe you lost the next game.
We lost the next game, and his comment was, "We'd have won had you give me more playing time."
I thought I was going to start. You know me, I thought, hey, I'm going to play a lot tonight. He didn't play me.
But when you come off the bench and hit a shot like you did in that game, that's what sort of makes you think, ooh, I like this, like with anything, right?
No, I was surprised as hell, to tell you the truth. I just turned and shot it and went in. But at the end of the game, I don't know, Coach, we had 12, 13 seconds to go in the game, and I get fouled, of course, you know.
Right.
I really thought I could make it, but, you know, everybody was nervous. I went to the line and made it 2 free throws. They had a chance to win it, but after that game, I thought, you know, I'm going to start the next game.
Right.
He didn't play me.
Had to wait your turn.
But, you know, in your own mind, you think you're better than what
Sure.
you are.
But you also remember telling me that in the summertime, you guys would all be down at the playground working out, and Coach Jones would stroll on by and say, "I'll be back to check on you." And sometimes that was an hour, and sometimes it was.
Well, he didn't tell. I figured it out later on, but my friend Michael Cox was with me, and Coach Jones stopped by and said, "How about you guys work on this?" And we'd work on that thing, work on it. And we was out there all day. Coach Jones sometimes come back in an hour, sometimes 2. Well, he started playing golf. You know, it takes 4.5 hours to play golf. Then he'd show up and go, "Where was you at today?" And he wasn't out there, so we never left again. We stayed out there all the time. But he was such a mentor to all of us, not just me and Michael, but all of us. We had, after practice, we had ping pong tournaments. You know, we did everything together. And Coach helped us all along the way. Can you imagine the thousands and thousands of kids that he's helped? I'm sure a lot of them didn't listen, but the ones that did, pay the respect to Coach.
Coach Jones, when did you look at this skinny kid who hit the free throws and say, you know what, he's going to be something special? When was that moment?
Well, it was very slow. I don't think we really thought that. We didn't realize what we had. We had the best. But we felt we really did. And I remember I used to tell Larry, regardless of how much time you put in, there's somebody down the road putting a little bit more. And he really took this to heart. And he intended to be, his desire to be the best. And each year he was better. In his senior year, Coach Holland gave him a lot more freedom. And he really exploded and became a great player. But he was always the ultimate team player. He was our best player as a junior. But yet, he was not necessarily the leading scorer. Could have been, but he took so much pride in winning. And he made everybody else play so much better. It's just unreal how well people relate to him. And he never says anything. You know, it's just.
He says plenty now.
Well, yeah, as I told you, if he's your friend, you don't need any enemies. And these guys, some of these guys know, boy, he can really get to you.
So we have to ask, because we were just talking about it off stage, why did you resign Larry Bird's senior year of high school?
He told me it's a dumb move, and I agree with him. Yeah, there's just a lot of things there. My children were in junior high, and I had 10 years in or 11. I was the athletic director. I was his guidance counselor. I had more problems with that than I did as a player. But and then I hadn't been out very long at all. And I really felt like that's really what I want to do. So I got it really good for both of us. My career ended up decent. His career ended up fabulous. So it really worked out. And you know, we've stayed very good friends all these years. And it's really been important.
So your senior year, Larry, you know, teams start coming around, colleges, a little later maybe than they do today. But one in particular, Danny Crum, was pretty persistent. Tell everybody about that.
Well, Coach was there. You know, he told me before the season started, he goes, hey, look, I'm not going to be around this year. It's going to be better for me to stay away. When I started getting 30 and 40 points a game, he was right behind me. I mean, this guy was everywhere. But these coaches would come in, and obviously Coach Jones would help me, you know, sit down, talk to him, and he was there all the time, which was a great help. And Denny Crum come in, and he wanted me to come down to Louisville to visit the campus, and I didn't want to go to Louisville. Gary Holland, high school coach my senior year, played at U of L, and he liked it. You know, he never got involved in it. But I talked to Coach Jones. I said, I don't want to go to Louisville. It's not a place where I think I fit in. But Denny Crum came up one day, and he's probably been there 2 or 3 times as a coach. He said, look, if I beat you in a game of horse, would you come and visit my school? I go, yeah, no problem. I mean, I was hot that day. So I never made the trip down to Louisville.
He was better than you thought, though, Denny Crum, right?
He could shoot.
You know,
Denny Crum played for John Lewis.
another one that was interested was University of Kentucky, and this was where
Barry
Larry
Major, he won't go in Louisville.
really enjoyed it. I thought if he'd have picked a school, it would have been Kentucky early. And we were at Brownstown, which was one of our rivals. And Coach Joe B. Hall was there, and I approached him and I asked him, you know, what's your evaluation of Larry? He said he's too slow to play at Kentucky. But Kentucky was pretty good. But this gave Larry the opportunity to stay in state.
Very good. Okay, I want to wrap up with one thing. When Larry retired, Coach, he sent you a little present in the mail, didn't he? I wonder if you can show everybody here in the audience what it was that he sent you.
I get this small box in the mail, and I tell the wife I didn't order anything. And I take it out, and it's this beautiful ring. But more precious to me was the handwritten note that he stuck in it. It says, Coach Jones, in a token of appreciation, I hope I've made you proud. And I would like to say, the wife and I
That's legendary.
are very proud of you and Dinah, and we cherish your friendship tremendously. And I'm sure everyone in here feels the same way.
And I will say, and I'm not from Indiana, but after the last couple of days, I feel like I am. I will say this, it's a good thing you didn't go to Kentucky, okay? I'm pretty sure we all agree Indiana State is where Larry belonged. Let's take another look.
Larry Bird was never one to follow the pack, so when he chose Indiana State over bigger college programs, it came as no surprise to those who knew him best. In his first season as a Sycamore, Bird averaged 33 points and 13 rebounds a game. The following season, his stellar play earned him All-America honors and the undivided attention of millions of Americans, including Boston Celtics general manager Red Auerbach. Auerbach drafted Bird with the 6th pick of the 1978 draft.
The mere fact that Red was willing to risk taking Larry in the first round the year prior to Larry's graduation, that puts Larry on the map.
But Bird had unfinished business back in Terre Haute. He returned to Indiana State for his final season, and what a season it was.
It was a special season, so we knew it was going to be something that we will always remember.
Bird led the Sycamores to an undefeated regular season record, culminating in an NCAA championship showdown between the nation's top 2 players, Bird and Michigan State's Earvin Magic Johnson. In the end, the Spartans were victorious, handing the Sycamores their first and only loss of the '79 season.
We all realized that 34-0, but it was a lot of fun times, a lot of good memories.
Still, Bird brought home a collection of honors, including the Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year Award, NCAA All-America, the Wooden Award, the Naismith Award, and the USBWA College Player of the Year Award. Soon, Bird and Magic would meet again in the National Basketball Association, where the two players would become friends and fierce rivals as they ushered the NBA into a bold new era.
Indiana State is known for Larry. There's some great athletes that have also come out there that went on to play baseball or football. I just think Larry had the biggest impact because of basketball and Indiana. Indiana State will always be remembered for Larry Bird.
Always.
Ladies and gentlemen, 1979 teammates Carl Nix and Bob Heath.
Well, okay. So Carl, let's start with you. You walk into practice and there's this no-nonsense guy named Larry Bird who's not taking anything lightly. No slacking off in practice. Give us a sense of what practice was like with Larry, that especially that championship year.
Well, my first thoughts was I ain't taking none of that. You know, I'm from the South Side of Chicago. I grew up with all that. I'm not taking it. You know, but once we started playing, and I've seen Larry's toughness and his dedication and passion for the game. It brought out the best in me. And what I did notice about Larry, referring to myself, is that, you know, I didn't back down to anybody, and I think that in some ways he respected that. So it was an unspoken bond, so to speak, with that, because I mean, growing up in the South Side of Chicago, you know, that's how we played, and I think at some point he respected that, and from that point on, it was pretty good. It was a good bond.
So Bob, Larry Bird, the player, you're watching him, and when did you know, okay, wow, we have a chance to do something really good here with this guy?
Well, the thing of it is, you know, I knew what his stats were in high school, senior year. You know, he was 30 points a game and 20 rebounds a game. So I thought, who is this guy? You know, and it was one of those things where Larry, he worked for everything he got, and he came early and stayed late, and you know, the times he'd be at the boys' club, shooting late and so forth, that type of thing. But you know, he really wasn't a vocal voice and say, okay, you got to do this, you got to do that, work hard, that type of thing. But we just sense that we got to do the same thing because he's putting it out, you know, every day in practice and so forth. But and that's just the way he was. And thinking back, you know, living together there in South 11th Street after the season, the way I'll get into some of the story. No. But, I'm married now. But anyway, yeah. And my daughter's here. What happened on South 11th Street stayed on South 11th. But you know, after the season though, you know, he'd be getting up early in the morning and taking off. I said, well, Larry, where are you going? And he says, well, you know, going to West Vigo High School to do student teaching and work with Coach Ballinger there on the baseball team. And, you know, nowadays, I think once you use up your eligibility or whatever, you don't even think about graduating or that type of thing. But that was Larry's goal, was to, you know, graduate and get his degree. And he just had to, that's part of the sacrifice that he did. So there's more to it than just on the basketball court, but we saw it also in life, so to speak.
So Larry, you got here a year before where you couldn't play, and you had to practice with the guys. And as I recall, you took out your frustrations not being able to play on him a little, and it even cost you Coach Hodges calling you in to talk to you about it, right?
Well, the first year I was here, I had to sit out a year. The practice was my games, and we used to be out there playing. And Coach King, which is not with us, but he was absolutely fantastic basketball coach. We go in these practices, and the second unit, which I was on, we'd be playing pretty well against the first unit, and a lot of days we beat them. But it got to a point where Coach King would set me out of practice a lot because we were dominating the starters, and I never could understand that. I got frustrated, and one day I left. Went in, took a shower. I said, I'm out of here. I can't play when I'm not playing. But the next day I was called in to Coach King's office, and he says, look, I've never had a losing season. Every day you come in here, you demoralize our starting unit. We're halfway through the season, and they're giving up because they can't even beat you in practice, you the second unit. He says, the hell with it. You're practicing all the time. It made me feel good because that was my competition. I already set out 1 year, and I played basketball, but not like this. And I was getting ready to come into college, and in my mind, I thought I was going to take this thing over. I thought I was good enough to really put this school in the map right away. It's a different feeling. You don't know until you get out there. But once I got out there, I understood that special things could happen.
You guys upset Purdue early in the season. Was that kind of when you first started?
Well, we didn't beat them my sophomore year, but we beat them my
No, I mean,
junior.
I'm talking about the big year.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm scared.
Purdue got to do that.
All right then.
I mean, you see these names just like UCLA when Bill Walton played there. Please, come on. Can you imagine me playing against Bill Walton? He'd be crying the
You
rest.
guys would be
Larry's
laughing so
pushing
hard.
me. Larry's pushing me. So the names didn't mean anything to us. We just played.
But to the rest of the country, I think that's when they started saying, "What's going on down
I
there?"
know, but the rest of the country is like most people. Purdue, Indiana State. Purdue's a Big Ten powerhouse. Indiana State's a mid-major. But it didn't matter. We just played. And one thing about these guys, when they threw that ball up, it didn't matter if you started or what, they played. And that's what we was drilled to do. You guard and you play. And that was in our mindset. Now, do we know he's going to win 33? No, we didn't. We didn't know he was going to win 10 games. When that ball went up, we were playing.
Yeah.
It happened to be, the results happened to be good for us.
Part 1. We're going to be back with another one. You know it.